Without me, you're nothing. My boss slurred at our investment party, and 3 hours later, my bank app pinged with a $7 million transfer from his account. I'm not proud of what happened next. And I'm 28, an executive assistant at a high-tech AI startup in San Francisco. I grew up in Oklahoma, still brew drip coffee, still compare avocado prices. My dream is simple, a down payment on a one-bedroom. My job? Herd founders wrangle calendars, mute Slack, stop fires before investors notice. I keep things clean, I don't cross lines. And that's when I realized Mark is 45, our CEO, publicly, charisma and TED Tone pep talks. Privately, late texts and little warnings like, "This is for your own good," when I push back. He calls me his right hand. He tells people, "I saved the company twice." Sounds flattering, right? And at our Series C celebration in a hotel ballroom, bass thumped and champagne fizzed. I was fixing a place card when he slid an arm around my shoulders like we were already mid-hug. "You keep this place afloat," he said into my hair. My skin went cold under the blazer. I stepped away. I should have left right then. 30 minutes later, my phone buzzed. Bank of America. Incoming transfer, $7 million. I thought it was a scam until I saw his name. Then a text from Mark. Gift. You deserve the whole world. The room felt too bright. The champagne tasted like static. This wasn't boss romance. This was a CEO affair scandal waiting to explode. That was the moment I knew. I Ubered to my Soma studio and sat with the bank app open, my thumb sweaty on Face ID. The numbers were real. My heart did that thin, fast thing. I typed return wire transfer and deleted it. Be honest, what would you do? At 8:12 a.m., a man with an ice-perfect voice introduced himself as Emma's attorney. Emma is Mark's wife. You manipulated a vulnerable person, he said. Return the stolen funds today or we'll proceed. In the background, a woman hissed. That little schemer thinks she can steal my husband and his money. I had never touched Mark. I hadn't flirted. But the optics? There were photos from the party with him too close. NNBY 9 a.m., Slack was buzzing. Did you hear? One DM said. He's obsessed. Another wrote with the nervous laugh emoji. HR scheduled a quick chat. The director folded her hands. Don't take this personally, she said, but there may be a conflict of interest. When I said I had nothing to do with the transfer, she tilted her head. You're too sensitive. I wish I was kidding. And then I want to return it, I said. Tell me how. She replied, legal will advise, and closed her laptop. Meanwhile, Mark didn't pick up. No calls, no texts, nothing. Here's where it flips though. And around noon, I checked the wire details because I needed something solid. Routing number, account name, memo, bonus. The sending account didn't match his personal checking from reimbursements. I recognized a different string. It was a corporate operating account, the one I reconcile travel against every Friday. My stomach dropped. If that money came from corporate funds, this wasn't a messy crush. This was fraud territory. Ann and I texted Nate from IT, the one person who saw me cry in a stairwell and didn't make it weird. Can you check last night's admin logs? He wrote back, come by. In the server room, cold air and metal dust. He pulled up an audit trail. Late night access from Mark's laptop, my admin session token, authorization on the corporate account. He used your saved access, Nate said. Probably thought he was pushing a bonus. My hands shook on the rail. Here's the part that changes everything. Because if that log existed, the divorce lawyer's stolen funds story cracked in half. If legal pushed, investors would see it. If investors saw it, Mark wouldn't be charismatic anymore. He'd be the guy who wired $7 million drunk. This wasn't forbidden love drama. This was a compliance fire with my name in the smoke. That was the moment I knew. And I printed the log, the wire confirmation, the account detail that tied it to corporate funds. I slipped everything into a manila folder labeled for legal and snapped a timestamped photo on my phone. Because receipts matter. Be honest. Would you have done the same? Then I called the attorney back. My hands shook. My voice didn't. I'm returning the funds to the corporate account today, I said. But you should know your client initiated the transfer from company money using my admin access while intoxicated. Silence. Finally, we'll be in touch. Click. And that's when I realized. The morning kept folding in on itself. By 1 p.m., our COO scheduled an urgent stand-up in the glass conference room the team calls the fishbowl. I tucked the manila folder under my arm, locked my screen, and walked in with that fake normal pace. The light was too white, the AC a steady hiss, and you could hear the click-click of someone's pen like it was inside your head. It only got worse from there. People avoided my eyes. Someone had taped the party photo to a Slack channel as a fun memory. Mark leaning too close while I held a champagne flute like a shield. The caption was just confetti emojis. I felt my phone vibrate in my blazer pocket. I didn't look. It was all optics now. That was the moment I knew. NNTH ECOO started with housekeeping, front-load bland updates, then land the blow. As a reminder, she added, eyes flicking across the room, bonuses are processed through payroll only, no exceptions. Heads turned. I kept my face still. My bank app might as well have been a siren in my pocket. Be honest. What would you do in my place? Mark arrived late, jaw tight, sunglasses hooked on his shirt like we were outdoors. He cleared his throat. Let's focus, he said, then winced like the word hurt. He talked product roadmap and bullet points, skipping vowels. Then he glanced my way. Big picture, we're a family. We don't overreact. He loves that line. We're a family always means swallow it. That was the moment I knew. When he ended, our head of HR did her smile without teeth thing. One more thing. If anyone receives unexpected funds or gifts, notify HR immediately. The room felt shorter, like the ceiling dropped an inch. A developer whispered, a chair squeaked, and someone's smartwatch pinged. I could feel the ridged edge of the manila folder against my palm. Microhook or not, I was done hiding. NN, I did, I said. My voice sounded calmer than I felt. The room stilled. I received a transfer last night. $7 million. I already initiated the return. It came from a corporate account during an admin session not initiated by me. A senior PM gasped like a sitcom extra. The COO blinked once. Slow. This was workplace scandal in real time. Silicon Valley startup drama with fluorescent lighting. That was the moment I knew. Mark laughed. That brittle, too loud startup laugh. It was a bonus, he said. A mistake in the account selector. He turned to the room. Guys, I'm taking care of it. Don't make this a thing. Then, to me, quieter. No one will believe you. It landed like a slap. He'd used that line before. You're too sensitive. This is for your own good. For the tape. Those are not leadership skills. Be honest. Would you have stayed quiet? And I set the folder on the table and slid out the top sheet. The bank confirmation with the corporate routing number, memo line bonus, timestamp pinned to the minute. Under it, the access log showing his device, my session token, his actions. The HR director leaned forward, perfume a sharp floral. Where did you get this? She asked. System logs, I said. Pulled with IT on a compliance basis. I'm returning the funds today. I'll also need a written statement that I reported immediately and acted to remediate. That was the moment I knew. Mark's face did that blotchy thing people get when a mask slips. This is a misunderstanding, he said, louder now. She's making this a thing. The COO cut in, voice flat. Legal, now. She looked at me. Thank you for reporting. The word thank felt like water after dust. In the hallway, someone muttered, holy, then stopped when they saw me. The story was already sprinting ahead. CEO misconduct, HR investigation, investor nerves. It only got worse from there. NNBY 230. Legal booked a room and slid me a neutral notepad, like I'd forget my own. I laid everything out. The party, the quote, the wire, the attorney call, the Slack noise. I kept it boring on purpose, because boring is credible. I never accepted this as compensation, I said. I acted within one business morning to return it. The transfer originated from corporate funds without proper authorization. The in-house counsel wrote fast. Do you feel safe? He asked. I swallowed. At work? Not really. And that was the moment I knew. We drafted a joint statement for the board and a short line for my personnel file. Employee reported unauthorized transaction, cooperated fully, initiated remediation. Small sentences, big shield. I also asked for a paper trail confirming no disciplinary action. We'll prepare it, legal said. Good, I replied, because I expect retaliation. The room went quiet for a beat. Be honest, would you have said that out loud? When I walked back to my desk, my keycard flashed red. Access denied. My stomach dropped. A glitch? Or a message? I tried again. Red light, no beep. That was the moment I knew. I found HR standing with security near my pod. Building-wide rekeying, HR said quickly. Happening today. Sure. In the middle of all this. We'll escort you to a temporary desk. The security guard looked embarrassed. He lowered his voice. Someone asked to revoke your access, then someone else reversed it. Good news disguised as humiliation. Public enough to sting, loud enough to warn. This was a public scene, office edition. Sat at a hot desk by the kitchen, close to the espresso machine's hiss and the lemon cleaner smell. People walked by, eyes darting to the manila folder like it was radioactive. Mark stalked past once, then again, then stopped. You're making a show, he said softly. You should thank me. I was trying to reward you. I kept my eyes on the screen. This isn't a reward, it's a risk. He leaned in. Don't be ungrateful. The machine steamed like a kettle. This is for your own good. And that was the moment I knew I had to move first. That night, I didn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling of my tiny Soma studio, while the refrigerator hummed and my phone buzzed with muted Slack notifications. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the $7 million number glowing on my bank screen. The smell of stale coffee in my mug mixed with the faint detergent scent from my laundry bag. And that was the moment I knew. This wasn't over. Not by a long shot. An NBY morning, I had 2 new voicemails. The first was from Emma's attorney, sharper this time. If you believe covering yourself with corporate logs will protect you, you're mistaken. Courts look at intent. Intent. That word clanged like metal. The second was from HR. Please attend a follow-up meeting at 11 a.m. They never said please. Be honest, what would you think? Before I left for the office, I did something small but necessary. I took photos of everything. The bank confirmation, the admin logs, the signed legal note about remediation. I uploaded them to a cloud folder under a boring name. Receipts_2023_taxes. Redundancy is survival. And that was the moment I knew I was past pretending this was just workplace drama. It was corporate scandal territory. At the 11 a.m. meeting, legal sat with HR again. The blinds were half closed, making stripes of light on the conference table. We're launching a formal investigation, legal said. You may be called as a witness. I asked, am I a subject? The HR director tilted her head, that PR smile again. Not at this time. The words sounded like insurance disclaimers. Useless until proven otherwise. That was the moment I knew. Non-Mark hadn't shown up yet, but his shadow was everywhere. People whispered in the kitchen, dropping their voices when I walked in. Someone left a sticky note on my desk. Hang in there. Another Slack DM. He's done this before. Then nothing. Just that one sentence. My hands trembled holding my coffee cup. The smell of burnt espresso drifted in from the machine. Too strong, too bitter. Be honest, would you keep showing up? At noon, I met Nate again in the server room. Cold air, buzzing lights, the smell of ozone from the racks. He leaned on the cabinet. I pulled more. He tried to delete the log. My stomach flipped. Did it work? Nate shook his head. Nope. Backups caught it. But he tried at 3 a.m. That was the moment I knew. Mark wasn't going to let this die quietly. Send me copies, I said. Nate hesitated. You sure? If he finds out... I cut him off. If he finds out, I'm already on the hook. Better to have them than not. Nate nodded, zipped the files, and slipped me a USB drive with a dumb cartoon sticker on it. I slid it into my pocket, feeling the sharp plastic edge against my palm. The USB became another symbol, like the champagne glass and the manila folder. These little objects felt like anchors in a storm. And that was the moment I knew. NNBY late afternoon, HR called another meeting, this time in a bigger room. Mark was there, red-eyed, jaw clenched. Emma sat in the corner, designer bag on her lap, nails tapping the leather. Her presence alone told me everything. This wasn't just internal anymore. This was marital war bleeding into corporate life. And Mark opened with his usual bravado. "This is ridiculous," he said. "I wanted to reward loyalty. 7 million is nothing compared to what we've raised." He looked at me. "You're acting like a victim. Without me, you're nothing." The words cut, sharper than before, because now everyone heard them. That was the moment I knew. I wasn't alone anymore. And I slid the USB across the table. "Backups don't lie," I said quietly. 3 a.m. attempt to erase logs. Recorded under your login. The legal counsel picked it up, plugged it in. The projector flickered to life, with lines of code, timestamps, access points. The silence was so thick you could hear the AC rattle. Emma's lips parted, but no sound came out. Then she hissed, "Idiot." The room felt colder. "Be honest, would you have spoken up in front of his wife?" NNTHECOO finally broke the silence. "Mark, step out." His chair screeched against the floor as he stood, muttering under his breath. Emma followed, heels clicking like gunshots. The door shut. The room exhaled. Legal turned to me. "You've done everything right. But this is bigger now. The board will get involved." My heart thudded. "What happens to me?" I asked. HR gave me that same soft smile. "We'll discuss protections." And that was the moment I knew. I played my first real card, but the game wasn't over. The next 48 hours were chaos. My badge still worked, but every swipe felt like a coin toss. Sometimes green, sometimes red, like the system couldn't decide if I was staff or intruder. I started carrying my laptop charger everywhere because I half expected to find my desk locked out again. Every vibration from Slack felt like a gunshot. That was the moment I knew. Survival meant staying 3 steps ahead. On day 3, the board convened an emergency session. Word spread like wildfire. People whispered, "Compliance breach" in the kitchen, avoiding eye contact. HR sent a calendar invite, mandatory all hands, 2 p.m. The subject line was, "Company values and integrity." Translation, blood was coming. Be honest. Would you show up calm? And at 2 p.m., the whole staff crammed into the auditorium, the one with bad acoustics and that faint carpet cleaner smell. Mark walked onto the stage looking wrecked, hair messy, shirt untucked, his smile nowhere. He gripped the mic like it was holding him up. "We are a family," he began, voice hoarse. "Mistakes happen. Loyalty matters. Don't believe gossip." People shifted in their seats. I felt the USB in my pocket like a hot coal. And that was the moment I knew. This was the public scene the whole story was building to. NNHE scanned the crowd until his eyes locked on me. "Some people," he said slowly, "take advantage of generosity, twist it, turn family into enemies." A murmur rippled through the rows. He went on, "This company is my life. Without me, it doesn't exist." He jabbed the air with his finger. "Without me, you're nothing." Gasps. A few nervous laughs. Phones raised, recording. That line, out loud, in front of everyone. That was the moment I knew. He'd hung himself. NNTHECOO stepped forward, calm but steel-edged. "Enough." She motioned to legal at the side of the stage. A projector blinked on. On the screen, wire transfer confirmation, corporate account header, timestamp. Then the access log. Mark's device, 2:37 a.m., deletion attempt. The crowd went silent except for one cough. The pixels told the story better than I ever could. It only got worse for him from there. And Mark froze, mic slack in his hand. His mouth opened, then shut. Emma was in the back row, face pale under perfect makeup, her hand white-knuckling her bag strap. When the log scrolled to the deletion attempt, she stood up, hissed, "Pathetic," and walked out. The slam of the door echoed through the room. That was the moment I knew. The mask had shattered. NNTHECOO spoke again, effective immediately. "Mark is on leave pending board review." Gasps, whispers, the buzz of Slack notifications firing off in pockets. Security stepped forward, not for drama, just policy. But the optics were nuclear. Our visionary founder being escorted from his own stage. Phones captured it, and I knew those clips would spread. "Be honest. Would you have recorded?" I sat still, hands flat on my lap, trying not to shake. The manila folder wasn't in front of me anymore. It was on the record, in legal hands. The champagne glass from the party, the midnight text, the red light of my revoked badge, all the symbols lined up in my head. It wasn't a reward, it wasn't a crush, it wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a time bomb, and he lit the fuse himself. That was the moment I knew I had survived the blast. After the meeting, people came up in small waves. A whispered, "Good job." A pat on the shoulder. A sticky note slipped onto my desk. "You saved us." It felt unreal, like being both hero and ghost. I couldn't shake the smell of burnt espresso, the hiss of the steam wand, little sounds anchoring me to the ground. Because even after catharsis, your body still thinks you're in danger. NNTHAT night. I got an email from HR. Your cooperation has been noted. We will finalize your severance package and provide a recommendation letter. Details to follow. Severance, recommendation, freedom. But also an ending. That was the moment I knew. I was out. Not fired, not disgraced. Out on my own terms. The relief was sharp, almost painful. Now I sat at my tiny kitchen table with my laptop open and a new doc titled, Next Chapter. My fingers hovered. The city outside buzzed with weekend noise. Horns, music, laughter. I thought about Oklahoma, about avocado prices, about Austin, where rent was saner. I thought about starting over. And that was the moment I knew. The story wasn't just about Mark's fall. It was about my escape. I left San Francisco 2 weeks later with 2 suitcases, a severance check that could float me for months, and a glowing recommendation letter signed by the very COO who had shut Mark down on stage. The Bay felt too tight, too toxic. Austin felt like air. Rent was cheaper, tacos better, and no one looked at me like I carried radioactive money in my pocket. That was the moment I knew. I'd chosen survival over spectacle. And I rented a modest duplex near Zilker, nothing fancy. The first night, I brewed drip coffee in a chipped mug and sat on the porch listening to cicadas instead of city sirens. The USB drive, the manila folder, the champagne glass memory, those anchors were packed in a shoebox in my closet. I couldn't throw them away, not yet. Symbols of everything I walked through. Be honest, would you have kept them? And work came faster than I expected. A small startup reached out after hearing whispers of the compliance assistant who took down a CEO. I said no. Then a consultancy offered remote contract work in ethics and governance, teaching founders how not to implode. That I said yes to. It felt right, flipping my worst week into someone else's warning. And that was the moment I knew. I wasn't running from tech. I was rewriting my role in it. Meanwhile, Mark's story spread. Tech blogs framed it as founder downfall. Twitter threads debated whether it was drunken generosity or corporate fraud. Some called me manipulative. Some called me brave. A Reddit thread even speculated about a forbidden love drama. None of them got it right. The truth was smaller, sharper. He thought he could own me with money, and when I refused, he collapsed under his own weight. That was the moment I knew. Narratives aren't facts, they're weapons. NNEMMA filed for divorce within a month. Word was she walked away with half his assets but none of his dignity. Investors pushed him out completely. The board brought in an interim CEO with actual compliance experience. Slack leaks showed employees calling me the firewall. I didn't want to be a meme. I just wanted to breathe again. Be honest. Would you read the threads about yourself? One night in Austin, scrolling my phone with the smell of takeout Thai filling the air, I saw an email notification. Sender, Mark. Subject, help. My chest tightened. Against better judgment, I clicked. His words stumbled across the screen. They've destroyed me. I need someone who understands. You know I didn't mean to hurt you. Without you, I'm nothing. The same line, over and over again. That was the moment I knew. He hadn't learned a thing, and I didn't reply. I archived it, then blocked him. My finger hovered a second longer than it should have. But then I shut my laptop, turned off the lamp, and sat in the quiet. The air smelled of rain and warm asphalt. For once, silence felt safe. That was the moment I knew I was finally done. Today, I tell people I'm a consultant in ethics and governance. Sounds boring, but it's a shield. It's also a reminder. What looks like a gift can be a trap. What feels like loyalty can be control. Symbols matter. My bank app ping. the champagne glass in my hand, the USB drive in my pocket. They're all part of the story I'll never forget. And every time I smell burnt espresso or hear a Slack ping, I remember the cost of silence. Be honest. Would you have risked everything to speak? And SO, that's my story. I was the assistant who accidentally became the firewall. The CEO who thought he owned me is gone. The company survived, though scarred. I survived too. Scarred, but sharper. Sometimes I still wonder. If I'd just stayed quiet, if I'd returned the money silently, would my life look easier now? Or did this mess carve me into who I was supposed to be? What do you think? Would you have given the money back? Or let $7 million burn your life down?